Hello, everybody. Jim Malone here. Happy Monday. It's Dallas Trading Floor, and hope everyone had a great weekend. I know I did. It's warming up here a little bit in Dallas, which is nice because boy, it was cold. Not very normal for even for this time of year. It was super duper cold. But without further ado, let's get into the slides here. All right. Well, basically, what's going on out there is the Dow was down. The Dow was down on China fears. China is carrying a ton of debt, and it looks like it may not be such a good thing. So who knows what's going to happen? But it definitely weighed on the Dow. Of course, many of the Dow stocks get most of their revenue actually outside of the United States. So very interesting situation going on there with the Dow. I wanted to show you the put to call ratio. This is a contrarian indicator. And basically, when the bulk of the people think that the market is going to go down, they're going to be buying puts. And of course, when it goes up, they're going to be buying calls. So interestingly enough, there's a ratio that if the put to call ratio goes above 1.1, we're looking at a bullish sentiment rather than a bearish sentiment. So we're still a little bit bearish, but that's a good thing because it is moving lower, and so we're still kind of in this interesting thing where it is indicating that we are a little bit bullish, at least in the short term. So I don't think we're bullish overall. This is really kind of hard, but I do think this is a little bit of a bear market rally, but we're definitely still in the rally. At least that's what the put to call ratio is saying, and a very interesting indicator that it helps determine the mid and short term bottom. So I don't think we're there yet. We're definitely seeing more. We're definitely seeing an indicator that is showing that we have not yet peaked. So definitely still on the upside here. Also on the market prediction, if you've been watching me for a while, you'll notice that I did I'm trying to call the top and the bottom of the spider. Now, what the spider is it's the largest ETF in the world, and it cracks the S&P 500. So I'm looking at a high of about 431 potentially on the spider before it reverses lower, and a floor of about 390. Now, it closed today after hours at 409. It's still making its way up, as you can tell. So we have a little bit of room left. Who knows? We may be in for a nice bounce here. Hopefully, maybe for another few weeks. So hopefully that we're going to do that, because that would be a good thing going on here. So definitely still see the market going higher. Here's kind of what I have here's what my portfolio is looking like right now. I have Impinj. It was down today, but I have an option on it, so I have a little bit of a hedge on it. On semiconductor, I did hedge this one today with a call option. It's called a covered call. LSCC, Lattice Semiconductor. I also have Chevron. It was up today. The rest of the market was down, but Chevron was up, kind of counterbalances. And then Amkor Technologies. Now, I did have a position in AI, which is C3 AI. I'm going to show you that in a second. But I did sell it. It went up way up, so I decided to take the money and run. I may be back in this one. Here's the allocation of my portfolio currently. As you can see, I'm about 38% in cash. Impinj PI about 21%. I have a relatively small position in Chevron, Amkor Technology even smaller, and then my two other larger positions are Lattice Semiconductor and On Semiconductor. So that's kind of where it stands in terms of my current outlook. Now, I wanted to show you this stock because AI has been in the news. There's a program out there, of course, called Chat AI that everybody is getting excited about because it's supposed to do a lot of things. I haven't really used it yet, so I'm not an expert at it, but definitely a lot of buzz about it. And there is this company called C3AI. Interesting thing about this company is that Thomas Siebel, who about over 30 years ago founded Siebel Systems, which was then sold out to Oracle. He is involved with this. So I have, he is one of the truly great impresarios in Silicon Valley. So that's where I'm seeing sort of a real interest in this. This was up about 6.4% today. Huge volume increase. If you look at the volume spikes here. Now, would I recommend buying it at this level? Well, I think it's going to be a little frothy, so I probably would not buy it at this level. I would wait for a little bit of a pullback. And what I want to show you there is sort of the pullback that I am looking at in terms of, in terms of this stock. So you can see support right here, basically just a little bit tad above 24 here. I think that I think if things moves above about 30.10, and of course that's where I would buy it again. If we moved it up here above 30.10, I would be in it right above 30.10, and then of course I would push my stop loss up because it's gonna zigzag, it's gonna go up and then kind of make headway that way. But C3AI, you might want to put this one on your watch list. Real interesting stock. Let's go to the big. Let's go to the big chart here. Take a look at that. Oops, there we go. Let's just put that up on the chart so everyone can see it. Yeah, this is the chart of AI, which is C3AI. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you the weekly chart here, and that kind of tells the tale of what's going on. We've been in this downward trend, as you can see, but when it broke through about 16, that's sort of where it started to make its move and reverse higher. So that's kind of, when this started to happen, an alert went off, and that's where I started to accumulate it. It was right when this alert went off. And the reason the alert went off is because it moved above this this line here. And the line, if we look at it, is the 10-week line. That's the 10-week line. So as it moved above this 10-week line, that's where I became interested in it. Now I wouldn't buy it here. It's very extended, so we don't really want to buy it. When it's extended like this, you don't want to buy it. Just go in and buy it. You want to wait until it makes a new high, and then you buy it, because at that level, that's where you're going to get the best thing. So here's the thing: it's coming in here. It's made this floor here, and I would buy it above about 30.10. I wouldn't buy it now because it's at 27. You say, Jim, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you buy something that was cheaper? Why wouldn't you buy it cheaper? Well, I want to make sure that it has the power to move above that ceiling, because the ceiling's at about 30 and 30.10, right around there. And if it moves about above 30 on heavier volume, that's where I'm going to become much more interested in it, because that's where I think it's it's likely to go higher if it goes there. All right, thank you very much. Let's get to some of the questions, and thank you for holding on. That's a minute. All right, so let's go to the questions. We've got several people queued up. Bomadoc, hey, what is your thoughts on VLO? Let's take a look at VLO real quick and get a look at that. Valero Energy. Here's one of my concerns about Valero. I love Valero. I think it's an absolutely best in class stock. My only trepidation right now, and I have an oil stock right now. I have Chevron, is the fact that we're starting to see a bit of a pullback in. We're starting to see a bit of a pullback in some of these oils, and it does look like it's pulling back. But here's the thing: I do think that you could possibly enter it right here I think it's going to bounce off of that 50-day line. Let's take a look where that 50-day line is. No, I'm sorry, the 10 to 10 week line. We're looking at the weekly chart here. It's about 129. So let's go to the daily chart and see if there's a good entry point. I do like the stock a lot, but I think we can't be overweight in the oils right now. But I still really like the oils in general. It came down to that 50-day line. Looks like it closed below it. I want to see it move above that 50-day line before I would probably buy it. One of the things that is a little bit concerning me here is that we do have a relative strength of 82, but we have a downward trend on the relative strength line. So I'd be a little bit careful like that. I want to see a confirmation to the upside. Now, currently, we are 5% away from the 21-day line. If this thing moves up a little bit, if this thing moves up above the 50-day line, that might be a place where we get into it. Currently, the 50-day line is at 129. So we got just a little bit ways to go. That's where I would try to enter it there. I would want to see a bounce. I don't want to be buying a falling knife here. And currently, the stock is moving lower. So I would see how this opens tomorrow. If it does reverse higher, which it very well might, that might be a good place. I do like the stock a lot. It's got a checklist of 78%, which is very good. The only thing it's missing on, of course, is it's a little bit off of its all-time high. Not so worried about that one, but the sales were not as good. They're not in the top 20% of all the stocks last quarter, but still very strong and a good stock. But I would wait for it to bounce. I would wait for it to move above that 50-day line, because that's where I think you're going to get your best. That's where I think you're going to get your best. Your best situation there. All right, let's take another question here. Thank you so much. All right. Okay, looking at TikTok. Thank you for following, by the way. AI is the future. I think so. I think that the one that you probably want, I do believe that AI is the future. I did own it up until about midday. What I did is I got in at about the 26th level, wrote it up, and then as it pulled back, I was sold out at $30 a share, at $29 a share and $28.50 a share. So I did make a little bit on that. I'm waiting for the pullback, waiting for it to reverse, and I'll probably be back in it. So I definitely agree with you about AI. I do think that. I think it's a good thing to go, and I think that the one that I like the best, of course, is C3 AI, but they're all other ones are good too. I mean, I'm not saying they're not, but C3 AI, that's the one that I think that probably is going to be your best. So just kind of keep on that one. All right, Mr. G wants to find out more about the QQQ and the Spider. Now, as we all know, the QQQ is the ETF that follows the NASDAQ 100. So that's the one, and it's doing okay. It's interesting. We're sort of back to the future here with the with the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is starting to look somewhat decent. So let's see if we can. What I'm doing here is I'm just looking at both of these. So let's go over here and grab that so we can see that. So here is the, here is the, grab that chart here. So this is the this is the chart for the comparison between the QQQ and the Spider. Now the Spider has been outperforming the Q. The Qs are starting to come back, but the Spider is still outperforming it, as you can see. We're basically looking at a fairly long time frame. Let's just look instead from the first of the year kind of look, yeah, there we go. So this is going to give a little bit more clean look at it. You know, we definitely have an upward trend here. As of, basically as of today, we did have this little pullback here. Of course, that's why you're seeing that. But we're still in an upward trend. It does look like the momentum right now, at least in the short term, is with the Qs. So interesting thing there. It looks like the momentum is with the Qs, and that definitely bears out because that's what's been happening to me. Most of the stocks that I've been buying have been in the chip sector, and they have done fairly well in the chip sector, and of course that's all in the Nasdaq. So that's all in the Nasdaq. So thank you for that. And let's take a question from Lisa SMH. Let's see if we can go over there real quick. SMH semiconductor. Yeah, this is a great way to play the semis. This is a great way to play the semis. It's been off a little bit, but this is a great way to play the semis. Why? Because you don't have to choose a leader, and that is a great idea, especially in this kind of a market. Because let's get the there we go. Okay. Part of the advantage of using something like an ETF in this case is you don't have to pick a leader. This has definitely been on the tear. I've definitely been, in the last few weeks, I've been very heavy in the semis. Now that may change, and I think it's worthwhile noting where the leadership is in the semis, and we can definitely tell that here, basically with this. But let's look at some of the leadership in the semiconductors. I'm going to go over here to LSCC, which is one of the components of the VanEck semiconductor. Now this is the one I've had this one, and I've bought and sold this one several times in the last 2 weeks. It's got a 100% checklist. This is why I want to show you this one. And I want to show you, definitely the money is flowing right now into some of the chip stocks, but not the ones that you thought. I've sold my position in AMD, and I'm basically looking, at this area. But it does look like Lattice is the strongest currently at 96 relative strength. That means it's in the top 4%. Now, Mobileye, this is what I'm trying to buy. It just hasn't been right to buy it. And of course, Monolithic Power. I had this one. I sold it at a profit. This was a nice one. If this pulls back, I'll buy this one again, Monolithic Power. But let's look at Mobileye, because that may give us an opportunity. And this one is more of a, this is more of a speculative play here. You can see we came all the way up here, and then we've pulled back, and then it seems like there's a floor at 40. So what I would like to do here is to see how close we can get. I don't think we can get that close to the 21-day line. Let's check. Yeah, 21-day line, 36. Well, it's 12% above it. So actually, especially if this pulls back to about 40, I think that, if we get a bounce on it, that might be the place to buy it. If we can get this thing to pull back to about 40, I think this Mobileye is a buy. Look at that. Relative strength is 97. And let's just kind of look at some of the volume that's come in on that one. Yeah, we definitely had some volume after earnings. We had some good earnings there, some nice action here, but definitely a little bit of a sell-off today. So let's look at the fundamentals on that just really quickly. I know this is one you didn't ask for, but I think that this is one I'm trying to feature because I do think that this one has some potential. And the December numbers have come in. Their sales are up 58%, but their profits 125%. So that's looking pretty good. They're still in a negative cash flow situation, but remember, this was a spinoff. This one was a spinoff from Intel, and so it's well capitalized. I definitely think, Tesla's going to have its self-driving, and then there's going to be Mobileye. So it's kind of the same kind of situation that we have in the phone world, where we have Android and we have iOS. So that's kind of what they're shooting for here. Is Mobileye Global is shooting for that kind of that iOS, that Android type of market. So real interesting here. I definitely like Lisa. I definitely like the Vanek Civic Connector one. I think that's still one of the great places to be in the market right now. So very, very good there. All right, let's see about TikTok. Buy Apple above 150. This is a good question. Where should you be buying Apple if you want to buy Apple? Now, here's one of the things I think that we're going to have to. This is sort of something we're going to have to deal with. I don't think necessarily the leaders that were the leaders the last time around are going to be the leaders this time around. So I'm not sure that Apple is going to be leading us out of. I don't think Apple is going to be leading us. Going to be the leading. Going to be the leading stock going forward. I think it was the last time, but I think now we have to be more careful, more selective. I think it's going to be other stocks besides Apple. But it did pull back a little bit today, but it definitely has made a turn. This was the if you're looking at this is the reversal line. It's definitely above the reversal line, and it's up after hours at 151. Would you want to buy it here? I think if it opens higher, that it's going to look good to buy it. I wouldn't go in full bore here. They did suffer a little bit of an earnings issue. I want to go over here to the fundamentals and let's see how they went. This is a little bit concerning to me right now. They did just report their earnings. Their overall sales were down 5%. I don't like seeing that, especially in a company like Apple. Their per share was down as well. They still have incredibly strong cash flow. The PE ratio is a little bit high at 26, but still not bad at all. I wouldn't go in this one as heavy. This one could very, very easily pull back lower. And we're looking at the weekly chart here. So we did go above that. This is the reversal line here. We were in this downward trend starting basically in in February. We started to see a move above the 200-day line. Now, this is probably, I think it's buyable above 150. I agree with you on that. I think it's above buyable above 150, but I think you got to be super careful. Here's some issues that I have with this one, especially this is the problem with a lot of the big cap techs. Relatively speaking, it's not that strong. Okay, 43. That's I want to buy in the 80s if I can. So I'm really focusing on the smaller companies that have more relative strength in this one. So my short and long answer on Apple is that you can start nibbling here, a quarter position. That's where I'd go in. Nothing more than that. So yeah, kind of like that. Hey Troy, everything's well with you up in Toronto. Let's look at Petco for a short. Interesting idea. Pinterest and Petco. So I think let's look at Penn first. Right now I've got my shorting. I've put away my shorting hat just because the current market is in a uptrend. Even though I think you may be very right about Pinterest, it does seem like it's kind of trying to make a decision here. I think I would wait on this one. I still would watch this. I don't think I would short this one. I want to see the 50-day line move below that 200-day line. This is the red line versus the black line before I would short it. It does appear that it's getting more relative strength. This is something that's a little bit concerning me for shorting. You're starting to see an uptick on that relative strength line. The relative strength line is this one is 26. So I probably would not be shorting Pinterest. Now let's look at Pets. I think it's Pets, right? I don't know what Petco is. I don't remember their let's see. Is it just Pet? Petco, let's see. Okay. Let me see if I can't remember the number for Petco. So let me get that. Stump the band. Okay, it's where is it? Come on. Okay. Woof. WOO. That's great. WOOF. Okay, so that's I didn't know that, but um, that is the symbol for Petco. So let's look at Petco here. I didn't know that it was Wolf. I like that. That's very creative for Petco. Would I short it here? Okay. Well, it definitely has moved above a key line, which is the 50-day average. You know what? I would wait until again on this one. I'm a little bit concerned. I kind of want to see. I would really kind of like to see it. I would really like to see it basically come up here to the 50-day line, 200-day line before I'd short it. So I probably would not short this one either. This has got a relative strength of 13. In a rising market like this, I think you got to be careful about shorting it. I think it may go lower, but it's a very, very cheap stock at 11.50. So I'd be careful with this. I wouldn't short this one. I just don't think there's enough meat left on the bone. I like to short stocks typically that have value over $100. That's why if I'm wrong, I don't lose as much percentage. So that's kind of what my take is on that. So I wouldn't short either of them. I wouldn't short either of them. So, but thank you for bringing that up. I so appreciate it. Lots of upgrades on how. Where do you see it going? Well, a lot of people are expecting a lot of investment in oil and gas, but there's one thing they're not telling you. This is telling me that there is Halliburton also does oil and gas, but it also does sort of contract military. So that may be also what is happening there. It does look like it's sort of getting some support at the 50-day line. I would wait until this thing reverses. This is not reversed, but it has sort of formed a cup, and it's sort of a handle here. We want to see it basically come up to the handle. It needs to break through that in order to have some upward momentum. So I would wait on this one. I know they do have a lot of upgrades, but I'd be careful on that one too. All right, let's look at Boeing. Now, this, of course, is a Dow stock. And for many years, I think it's still true, this is the number one exporter from the United States is Boeing. And so let's look at that stock. Okay, it looks like it's getting some support at the 21-day line. This has run up so much. Below 200, I like it, but I don't know. Above 200, I'm not so sure. This is looking like a handle here, sort of a cup with handle. Let's take a look and see what the technicals say. 207. So we're right about on the 21-day line. I'd like to see it get more support, but let me look at the intraday chart here on it to see if I can see something that okay. So it looks as if, all right. Well, that's a volume spike right there. It looks like it's getting support right at 206. So okay. So definitely, yeah, because if you draw the line there, this is a 10-minute chart. You can see that it moves below 206 and then it gets support. So it's support right at 206. I don't know. If I were to buy this one, what I would probably do is a covered call on it. I'd buy the underlying stock and then I would sell a call against it. That's kind of my take on it. Basically, Boeing is getting support at about 206. It's run a little bit. I don't know. I just don't think it probably is the time for Boeing. I think you got to wait. I think you got to wait until it's going to go sideways for a little bit. You possibly could do a cover call. That's a good sideways play because I definitely think this was likely to go sideways at least for a while. Because I think now that it's above 200, I think it's going to be flat for a bit. I think it's going to be flat for a bit and move that way. That's what it's looking like, anyways. So I would probably watch this one. The relative strength did turn up a little bit here, but it's sort of in a downward trend. So I would be careful on this one. All right, Charles, let's take a look. What is going on with ASO&M? Keeps going up. Yeah, I know. It's so weird. I've been steering clear of retail. I don't know what's going on with American sports and outdoors. I cannot figure it out. I cannot figure it out. I've not been in this sector, but you're absolutely right. I mean, look at this. This is a cup formation, and it's a little bit extended, but let's see how far above the 5-day line, 21-day line is. Well, 7%. That's not that bad. So this is a cup formation with a handle. The handle isn't going down, it's going up. So we're going to see it, probably come down here. So, I have no idea why this is the case. Let's compare this to Macy's. That is so interesting. Why? Because Macy's is, they're practically broke. They had a terrible quarter. And let's compare it against Macy's and see. That is interesting. Look at that. Okay. Let me show you that one real quick. Let's see if we can get Macy's up here. This is the comparison against ASO and Macy's. They're almost exactly the same. They're both up. I don't understand why this is happening. It doesn't make sense to me because I don't think the numbers are that good. So this one I cannot explain. I'll be honest. I haven't been really looking for opportunities in the retail. I've been focusing mainly on chips and AI. That's sort of where I've been humming for bear. But Charles is asking about MCHP. I had MCHP. I did sell it out of the profit. This one I do think is real good. MCHP, along with Lattice Semiconductor. These are the two ones that have the highest strength in the area. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah. See. Yeah. This is definitely looking good. This is a cup formation, and then it's come above that cup formation. It's a little bit extended above that 21-day line. Let's look at the 21-day line. Yeah. Well, no, actually not. I mean, you want to buy it with an 8% of that 21-day line, but 8% isn't bad. Boy, I tell you what, I like this one. Look, it's up after hours too. Yeah, I think this is probably going to continue higher. Yeah, this is the kind of stock you want to buy, at least in this kind of a market. Yeah, let's look at the more detailed weekly. Yeah, see, here's why I like this one. You're great to pick this one up to bring this up, Charles. You see, that's the all-time high. You notice how it's coming through this cup. So this could easily come up here, through here, break through this all-time high, and then we'd be off to the races. So this is looking very, very good. It's in the right sector. It's starting to see some nice movement. It's got nice earnings. Let's see what the earnings were for this last quarter. Here, I'm not showing you. There we go. Oh. Let me go back to the chart. Let me go back to the chart for MCHP. Sometimes I get ahead of myself when I don't show the chart. So this is the MCHP chart, and and we're looking at the weekly view. They just came through earnings. Their sales were up 23%. I really like that. You notice how there are every quarter they've been up at least 20% on their sales. This is strong. Also, we've got nice 30% growth in terms of earnings per share, and before that 30. So this is very, very strong. Increasing number of funds are coming into this one. It still has a very good price to earnings ratio. Notice how this is much better than like an AMD. Oops. This is why. Sorry about that. Up there. See if we get back to the. There we go. So, just kind of pulling this out. Notice how this is a 15 price to earnings ratio. That's excellent. Strong cash flow. And it's just looking really good now. Now some of the ones that I have on Semiconductor here. Now I don't own STM. I like STM a lot. This is the Swiss company. Very, very strong. Also 94 relative strength. But look at the relative strength on this one. This is just very, very good. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to compare. I'm going to compare Microchip with Lattice to kind of give you an idea of what I'm seeing in the market. And since the first of the year. Yeah, there we go. Well, they're almost exactly the same. Okay, they're almost exactly the same. But let's show that comparison between Lattice Semiconductor and Microchip. They're both looking very, very good. Yeah, I mean, I own Lattice. I don't own Microchip right now, but I may get back into Microchip because it's just looking very strong. It's one of the strongest of the group. Let's look at the overall group. So this is the overall group for the semiconductors, fabless. Excuse me. And let's see, as you can see, the number one, Allegro Microsystems, ALGM, that's the number one in terms of strength, 97 relative strength. STM, very strong. Amkor Technologies, I own Amkor, I own ON. I don't own diodes, but these are the ones that are starting to show strength. So this is one of the areas that I'm very, very interested in. I think they're going to get some more strength here. So you might want to note these symbols down: ALGM, STM, AMKR, ON, and DIOD, Diode Incorporated. All right. Okay, and probably take the last one from Troy. Thank you so much. Is oil going to keep going lower? Well, no, I don't think it is. I think it's going to get some support. I think it's going to get some support, but right now, you have the Russians, excuse me, throwing a lot of oil. Even though it's been cut off even though the crude oil has been cut off to go into Europe, it's finding its way into the world market through India and a lot of other ways. So there's, the Russians are selling lots of oil because they need it for their war effort. And so that's what's bringing the price of oil down, I believe, more than anything else. I do think we're going to get a floor here. We're looking at West Texas Intermediate, which is sort of the benchmark here. So we're looking at about $70 a barrel. Currently, we're at 73. I definitely think we're likely to get a bounce there, and then possibly, it's going to bottom out, go sideways, and then move up. But yeah, I think 70 is going to be the floor for oil. 70 US is going to be the floor for it. That's just my guess based on this chart of crude oil. So that's kind of the way it works. Okay, one last question from TikTok. Thank you very much. Which stock? Okay. Okay, let's look at Tesla. Okay, let's look at Tesla. That would be interesting. I know everybody's interested in that one. And that'll probably be the last stock for today. TSLA, Tesla. And let's look at the daily chart on that. Go back to put that up there for everyone to see. All right. Tesla showing a lot of strength. It's sort of in a consolidation right under 200 at 194. There's definite resistance at 200. Now, let me explain what's going on with Tesla, what I think is going on with Tesla. And that is, Tesla is running into what they call overhead supply, okay? So it came all the way down to about 108, and then it bounced, and it's come all the way back up. But guess what? I'm going to draw a line here. And this is the line of overhead supply. There's a lot of people that bought the stock way above 200. So now that it's coming up to 200, they have a they want to sell because they want to cut their losses. So they've been waiting. Now it's up to 200. So it's going to have a little bit of a, it's going to have a ceiling here at 200, and at least for a while. So this is the problem with Tesla right now. It's not a good time to buy it because it is running into what they call overhead supply. So I'd be super careful here with this. What happens is if a stock, it falls way below where the majority of the people own it, when it comes up to that level, then there's what they call overhead supply. Overhead supply is where people will sell it and then they'll push the price down. So I definitely think that we're going to probably see, at least for a time being, we're going to see a ceiling here at about 200. So I don't expect this thing to move above 200. Now, if it does move above 200, and I'm wrong, you want to start buying it right about at that 200-day moving average line. But right now, as long, I don't think it's going to move above 200. Let it reverse, go lower. Let it reverse. I think it may reverse way back down to 100 again and then reverse again. It's because of the overhead supply that it's not moving higher. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for taking a look at the show. By the way, if you're not already liking the show, it really helps us when you like the show because it gets it out there to everybody. So smash that like button, and we will be back tomorrow at 5. If you want to get on the Action Trade Alerts, super easy to do. All you have to do is go to this address, www.dallastradingfloor.com, and we can set you up with the free alerts. And so I hope to see you back here. We're in an interesting period right now. The market is in. If you don't really probably want to be short anything right now, we're in a bear market rally. I don't know how much longer that's going to last, but right now the market is moving in an upward direction. So where the cash seems to be flowing to is to the chips again, and also to some of the AI stocks. So we'll be talking about this tomorrow on the show. And thanks again, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow at the trading.